Good afternoon. I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, the prosecutors and defense have given their best arguments over the future of the Oxford school shooter. He's been the focus of a Miller hearing to determine if he might ever stand a chance of being released from prison. Sean Lay working the story, was in court for the last witness, also those closing arguments. Oh, an emotional day, Sean.
I'm glad you mentioned it. Extremely emotional, of course, for the family's care. And the mother of Madison Baldwin, I spoke to her upstairs in the hallway. She said day 1 was just as hard as day 4 today, because today the families learned through the prosecution and a special witness, a doctor, that it was the doctor's opinion that the motive for the shooter was to be famous, that he idolized the Parkland shooter. She said it had nothing to do with mental illness. Take a look.
He had multiple opportunities to receive help and chose not to.
That is Dr. Lisa Anaker. She's a forensic psychiatry specialist testifying today for Oakland County prosecutors in a key hearing that will decide if the Oxford High School shooter can be sentenced to life in prison without parole as a minor. The shooter is now 17. The defense of the shooter putting forward its own doctor, who testified that the shooter suffers from mental illness and was in a state of psychosis leading up to the shooting, hearing voices, seeing demons. Dr. Anaker says the evidence of the shooter's behavior clearly suggests the shooter had a clear, thought-out plan and was not acting out on impulse. He had a goal to be famous after the shooting.
The defendant wanted that notoriety. He wanted to be remembered for the shooting, and he wanted to be memorialized for his actions.
Back here live, so prosecutors essentially with the last word for these closing arguments. The defense put up his own doctor saying it was clear that the shooter was in the throes of psychosis, a mental health episode leading up and at the time of the shooting. Again, defense attorneys and their doctor said the evidence just doesn't show that at this point. More waiting for the parents' care. And here's the deal. The judge here, Kwame, will decide on this hearing, make a decision. It'll happen at the end of December, and then sentencing for the shooter will happen in the answer for what's happening with the hearing, end of September, I should say, and the sentencing will happen in December. So more waiting for them. This is not a quick process for the families at all.
Yeah, no, I think that date was September 29th, if I do recall. Of course, we'll have more on this case. We also did post all the hearings on clickondetroit.com if people want to start to follow all of the things, because I know there's so much information out there. We appreciate your report. Thanks, Sean. The Oakland County Sheriff's Office just released some new information this afternoon on how one of its deputies shot a man to death. This all started before 6 this morning when a woman called about a suspicious car in her driveway. Deputies responded near Roselawn and Mains, right behind M59. The Sheriff's Office says deputies approached a man. He was sleeping in the car, took a gun out of that car, and then told the suspect to put his hands behind his back. They say he refused and then drove off with one deputy partially hanging out of the passenger side, trying to stop him. Told that deputy, fired one shot. The Sheriff's Office also says bullets scattered all over the scene when the magazine of the confiscated gun broke apart. We're taking a closer look at how this reportedly played out on Local 4 News at 5. Roseville police investigating after a 14-year-old autistic boy was killed in a hit and run. That happened on the entrance ramp to 696. Investigators tell us that same teen was reported missing in Warren just a few hours earlier. Michigan State Police say a driver was getting onto 696 East from Groesbeck. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning when the teen was hit. Witnesses say the driver did not stop. So that's where you come in. If you happen to see anything in the area overnight, please call State Police or 1-800-SPEAK-UP. We are monitoring contract talks for teachers in the Detroit Public Schools Community District right now. They are working under a contract extension that's set to expire on Sunday. Union leaders have said they are close to a deal and will work into the weekend if that is what it takes. Damon Fernandez is following that story today. He's been talking with folks, and he's going to have the very latest on those negotiations when you join us for Local 4 News at 5. Many of you might be spending some time along Woodward Avenue this weekend for the big Dream Cruise. Many people have their chairs out like that couple there. Of course, car lovers have already been cruising for days. The official parade and classic muscle car show runs tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. through 9 communities. You can join the celebration from Ferndale to Royal Oak to Birmingham and Pontiac. The parade is free for participants and the public who just want to watch. Our Hank Winchester traveled to Ferndale to get a feel for exactly what was happening out there. I'm always amazed how big the crowds get before the official event starts, right, Hank?
Yeah, Karen, it is huge because, as you mentioned, the official cruise, well, it is tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. along Woodward Avenue, and we're talking from Ferndale, where we are right now, all the way north to Pontiac. Take a live look behind me. We're here near 9 Mile and Woodward in the heart of Ferndale, and as you mentioned, there are still some classic rides. Take a look. One just went by right there, a pickup, old Chevy. People are getting out. They're enjoying it right now. The weather is so beautiful. You know, what's really interesting about the cruise itself, more than 1 million people, 1 million people from all over the country, all 50 states represented, will be up and down Woodward tomorrow. People traveling as far as Japan and Australia. Take a look at this guy on the Harley. I mean, come on. You're getting in the spirit of it. Are you ready for this dream cruise? All right, you enjoy it, my friend. Have a good time. So Karen, you know, the great thing is that the cruise is free. In fact, that's something that I'm working on tonight for 6 o'clock. There's a scam involving people trying to take advantage of those. Having a lot of fun this weekend. We're talking with Sheriff Bouchard at the top of the 6 regarding that. But for now, it is a beautiful day. Even though the cruise doesn't begin until tomorrow, you're going to see plenty of classic cars, people sitting in their lawn chairs, enjoying the view, watching these beauties go by. And Karen, I know you're very eager to get out in your classic 2023 Jeep and let everybody see that as you cruise up and down Woodward.
I have done that. I took the doors off, and you can cruise. I mean, you have to show the respect to obviously the other ones, but you know me, I do like going up and down Woodward like that. Blasting the music.
Hey,
did you have a favorite person you met along the way, or a favorite car?
I just got here 5 minutes ago.
Oh my God!
So, but as
I love
you know,
Hank.
we were at a different location. We were, but
I was gonna say maybe it was the
guy on the motorcycle. The guy on the motorcycle. I mean, that guy was pretty cool, right? What do you want?
I thought it was. When you were going to go live with that guy on the Harley, I was like, oh, let's just see exactly what this happens, because, you know, live television. But you did well. You wrapped him up.
Take that over to the streaming channel, right?
That's right. All right. Well, good luck out there. I want to see how this goes
Thank
for
you,
you.
Karen.
All right. Miss you, Hank.
All right. Take care.
Posted more about the Dream Cruise and the route, all the information you need on our website at clickondetroit.com. Well, it was gorgeous out there, wasn't it, Ron? You can see Hank enjoying the cruise, and that's obviously the most important. We need some good temperatures. We don't want it to be too hot. The lows could be in the 50s again later tonight. So let's bring in Ron. He's in for Kim today with our first forecast. Hey, Ron.
Yeah, hey, Karen. Hank was having a little too much fun out there. The polo was just soaking it all in. Very nice out there. So you can see we are free of the clouds. That is why we have the sunny skies. The cloud cover, it's off to our east. You see it over London. You see it closer to areas just around the Mississauga area as you get over toward Toronto as well. We are seeing beautiful conditions right here in Southeast Michigan. They will continue. So I want to show you there's not a whole lot out there happening as it pertains to rainfall or clouds anywhere around our area. You're looking at Woodward Avenue in Midtown. Now, of course, the official route is in Oakland County from Pontiac to Ferndale, but you'll certainly see some of those cars down into the Midtown and downtown area. Right now, temperatures in the 70s, but it is getting cool tonight. The latest coming up in just a moment.
All right. Thanks, Ron. Former President Donald Trump now has 1 week to turn himself into Georgia authorities, and he's done a little bit of an about-face on releasing what he called new proof in the case. Trump had announced a news conference for next Monday to release evidence of what he calls a rigged election in Georgia, in spite of no proof of widespread fraud. Well, last night, he abruptly canceled the event, saying the evidence will now be used in legal filings instead. The former president and 18 others are charged with trying to change the presidential election results in Georgia in 2020. So far, no one has turned themselves in. The deadline is noon next Friday, August 25th. The search for missing people continues on the Hawaiian island of Maui, with crews now moving beyond the devastated town of Lahaina. Sadly, finding the victims is just the first step. The FBI is joining the efforts to identify those who have been lost. The agency has provided a team to help with analyzing fingerprints and DNA samples. The FBI is asking many families to provide samples for comparison. Right now, the death toll stands at 111, but it is widely expected to keep growing, with more than 1,000 people still missing. Red Cross starting to move evacuees from shelters into transitional housing. At least 750 hotel rooms have been blocked off for residents whose homes were destroyed. The goal is to get them out of those group shelters into their own rooms by early next week. The federally funded lodging will be available for at least the next 7 to 8 months. Red Cross staff will be on hand to help with medical care, also emotional support and casework. The Maui Emergency Management Agency is looking for new leadership after its administrator abruptly resigned. Herman Andaya cited health reasons when he stepped down Thursday. He's leaving one day after saying he had no regrets about not using sirens to warn residents about those wildfires. He says the sirens are normally used for tsunamis and could have prompted people to actually run into the flames. Local leaders are facing some heavy criticism for how the crisis has been handled.